You have built a tool that works, but without a sales team or a massive marketing budget, finding customers is an uphill battle. It feels like trying to push a massive stone block with a single tiny gear. The industry points to a single solution for this: product-led growth, or PLG. Many founders assume this strategy is reserved for the giants of Silicon Valley. They see PLG as a machine with hundreds of nodes, requiring growth engineers, data scientists, and a runway long enough to experiment with complex onboarding flows. In reality, indie developers possess a structural advantage that larger teams lack. You are the architect. You know every corner of your product, meaning you can see exactly where a user finds success and where they get stuck. PLG is not an engineering luxury. It is a commitment to intentional simplification, ensuring the software can prove its own worth without a middleman. By 2026, the user mindset has shifted toward immediate verification. They expect to see the output of a product before they offer a credit card or even a professional email address. When a product hides its value behind a 10-step form or a mandatory demo call, it creates a wall. Modern users don't try to climb those walls, they simply walk away. A fast, self-serve experience is a requirement for survival in this market. If the product doesn't deliver a result within the first few minutes, it effectively doesn't exist to the person who just signed up. Consider a user's timeline. It begins the moment they hit sign up. The time to value is the distance between that click and their first result. Inside this gap, every extra form field is a jagged friction point where users stop and close the window. You cannot bridge this gap with a well-written email sequence. If the steps inside the software are too steep, the user will never reach the point where those emails even matter. If you cannot reach the core win of your product in under 5 minutes, your users will almost certainly fail to reach it at all. Once a user achieves that first win, they move toward a natural friction point, the moment they hit a usage limit or need a more advanced capability. Most founders interrupt the user too early. Asking for a subscription before the person has felt the product's utility is like asking for a tip before the meal is served. Effective PLG triggers appear exactly when the workflow demands more capacity. The upgrade becomes a solution to a limitation the user is currently feeling, rather than an arbitrary interruption. When you trigger a paywall after the user secures a win, payment feels like a logical expansion of their success, rather than a hurdle. The final stage of the timeline occurs when the user completes their task. They produce a report, a shared link, or an invite for a colleague. This is where growth can become self-sustaining, even without a marketing department. By embedding a product mention or a powered by link in the shared output, you turn every completed task into a signal. One user's finished work branches outward, introducing your tool to 3 new potential users. This compounding loop requires zero ongoing effort. The growth is built into the way the software is used, not how it is advertised. Giving away software for free is not a strategy. It is often a path to exhaustion. Without a clear conversion plan, a free tier simply burns through your server resources and your time without ever building a sustainable business. If your free tier allows a user to solve every problem they have indefinitely, you haven't created a growth engine. You have created a utility that people will use until it eventually goes offline. 1,000 signups might look like success, but if 990 of them never return after the first minute, the product is failing. The sign-up is just a promise. The activation, the moment they actually do the work, is the reality. The percentage of users who complete a meaningful action in their first session is the most accurate indicator of your product's health. It tells you if the software is actually solving the problem it promised to fix. You can find the leaks in your own timeline with a 20-minute audit. It requires no specialized tools, just a timer and an honest look at your software. Step 1. Create a fresh account. Time how long it takes to reach the first meaningful result. If you can't beat the 5-minute mark, your onboarding is your biggest bottleneck. Step 2. List everything that leaves your product. Every PDF, exported link, or invite. If none of these carry your brand to a non-user, you are missing out on free acquisition. Step 3. Examine every upgrade prompt. Ensure they follow the experience of value rather than interrupting it. Step 4. Pick the single most direct change, reordering a screen or removing a form field, and fix it this week. Paid acquisition is volatile. It spikes when you spend and flatlines the second the budget is gone. But compounding improvements to your product create a curve that grows more resilient the longer it runs. You don't need a team of growth engineers to scale. You just need to be honest about where your product loses people, and then let the software do the work of convincing them to stay.